following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hi, this is Rob Deininger with Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and today we're going to be discussing Super Bowl 53, and I have two guests, both who write for Last Word on Sports, Ryan Hawks and David Latham. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Dave, what has impressed you most about the Patriots this postseason so far?
This postseason, it definitely has to be the play of the offensive line. So everyone throughout the year has been wondering, where's Brady's weapons on offense, because the wide receiver position hasn't been great outside of Edelman. Gronkowski's taken a step back. But if you need to see, what you need to do to, protect your 41-year-old quarterback and keep him healthy in February, look what Bill Belichick did with that offensive line. It's hard to think of an interior trio better than Shaq Mason, David Andrews, and Joe Thuney, all of whom are in Pro Football Focus's top 10 at the position. Marcus Cannon stayed healthy the whole year, and when he's healthy, he's a really good right tackle. And Trent Brown, acquired for basically nothing from the 49ers, started all 16 games plus the playoffs, and really he made everyone forget all about Nate Solder. If anything, he might have been an upgrade in the pass-blocking game. So it's been a great lineup. Brady hasn't been sacked this postseason, and it's, you've seen Brady come back to life, looking like his old self in the postseason. A lot of that's him getting healthy from the knee injury, but a lot of that's having a great line in front of him, protecting him from some of the league's best pass rushers.
Yeah, true, and also he's been getting rid of the football extremely quick. I think 2.1 seconds this postseason. And when you do that, those defensive players that are rushing, they get tired.
Yeah, you can't get there in 2.1 seconds. The ball's gone by then.
And plus, with Sonny Michel and James White, they got a pretty good rushing attack.
Yeah, sort of bringing it back to maybe the 2004 Patriots, where it's not the flashiest show in the world anymore, but it's maddeningly efficient, and it's really hard to stop because all the parts just work so well together.
Yeah, and both the Rams and Patriots this season, the Patriots were the fourth worst team in the NFL as far as yards per rush at 4.9. Or wait, let me see where this is. They were the fourth worst at rushing allowed per rush, but this postseason they're allowing 2.73 and only giving up 30 yards rushing per game, which right now would be a Super Bowl record or a postseason record in the Super Bowl era. So their defense has really done a good job of stopping the run this postseason.
Yep. It's funny because that was for a long time their biggest weakness, but they just started. Lawrence Guy's been amazing all year. For a while they were using Malcolm Brown as a true nose tackle, which isn't something you should do with Malcolm Brown. He's really good when he's working in a 4-3 front as more of a defensive tackle, plugging up the gaps. But if you align him right under center, he's going to get overpowered. He can't handle fighting from that position, from that technique. They've gone back to sort of putting Brown and Guy. Guy's always out there basically, but putting Brown and someone else with him, side by side in a 4-3, rotating them out with Danny Shelton and Adam Butler, who's had a great breakout these last few weeks. And that's really helped the rush defense really win in the front. Dante Hightower's had a slow year all year, but he's really looked better over the last month or two of play. And Kyle Van Noy's one of the most underrated players in football. He's been phenomenal all year. So it's a lot of pieces clicking at the right time for New England.
Yeah, and Ryan, for the Rams, they were actually the worst team in the NFL with rushing yards allowed at just over 5 yards per carry. But in the playoffs, they're only allowing 2.2 yards per carry, and they're shutting teams down running the ball. How impressed have you been with the Rams' rush defense?
Yeah, again, super impressed, and they've went against some really good backs. You got two of the three even of the top backs. They faced Zeke over there with the Cowboys, right, in the first game, and then they go against Kamara and Ingram the second game. So they really stepped it up. Donald, I've always thought if he's got one weakness, it's going to be stopping the run, and he's kind of stepped it up. And then you've got Sue out there, of course, in the middle, and he's playing motivated right now. He's kind of a guy who everybody knows the way he can play and get to the quarterback. And, sometimes he kind of struggles with his motivation, but when it comes playoffs, he's out there playing as well.
What kind of game plan do you think they'll use defensively against the Patriots to try to slow them down?
I think what they're really going to have to do is focus on the middle of the field because that's where, especially usually during the playoffs, the Patriots are making their money just kind of throwing these balls to the middle of the field to usually Edelman. I expect the Patriots to try to get Gronkowski involved there as well. And to me, I think it's somewhere where the Patriots are going to attack too because it's a little bit of the Rams' weakness. Their linebacking core is okay, but it's not the best. I think they really miss. Oh man, why is his name escaping me? He got traded to the Giants during last offseason. Their linebacker.
Ogletree?
Ogletree. There you go. Yeah, so Ogletree, and I think they kind of miss him. He was kind of a leader out there, and they've got Fowler, right? But he's kind of like they traded for. I don't know if I'd say he's a great coverage linebacker. So in coverage, their linebackers are probably going to struggle, whereas, their corners, you've got Peters and you've got Talib, they're going to be okay on the perimeter. So I expect McVay to really try to offset that in his game planning.
Yeah, because both the Chargers and Chiefs, they played off the receivers and let them get off the line clean. Do you think you'll see the Rams trying to jam the Patriots receivers at the line of scrimmage and force Brady to hold the ball a little longer?
Oh yeah, that's the way that you beat Brady if you make him hold the ball long. The problem is you can't really do that, but I think they are going to try that. The Patriots receivers aren't the most physical guys out there, and the Rams like to do that as well. So I think they're going to attempt it. I'm not sure if they'll be successful with it. I think they can. I think they can be though.
Yeah, because Tom's had and the Patriots have had trouble with rushers, coming from the outside, and with the Rams, their pressure comes up from the middle. Do you think they can get enough pressure on Brady throughout the game, or at least get enough touches on him to throw his rhythm off a little bit?
Yeah, I think so as well. It's something that the Patriots haven't really faced all season, this kind of interior pass rush that the Rams have. I think they're going to get to him. I think he's going to get a little bit rattled at times. Because if they can jam up those receivers, then Brady's going to get hit, so he better be ready. I think they're going to offset that, with Gronk. I think this is going to be a game where they're really going to have to worry about Gronk. They're going to try to get him involved because he's the big guy that's going to be able to out-physical the guys on defense for the Rams. So if they can stop Gronk, I think they're going to be a big part of the game plan too, and then they can get to him.
Yeah, would you put Talib on Gronk?
Ooh, that's not a bad idea. I think they might. I would probably trust him on there because you got they got Joyner, safety Marcus Joyner, right? And so he's a little bit undersized for Gronk, I would say. So they're probably going to... Everyone's
undersized for Gronk.
Yeah, I know. Especially, Joyner, man, I don't think that's going to be a good matchup. Talib might be able to hang with some of that physicality. And, really, aside from him, they just have Edelman to worry about. So I don't know why I didn't think of that, but they probably will.
Yeah, and did you think they'll maybe give Peters, if Peters is on Edelman, maybe give a little help, shadow Edelman over the middle?
Yeah, they're going to have to because Peters, he's good in coverage, but I don't think he's not the best at shadowing. He's going to need some help. They're going to give him some help over the middle. I think Peters, like the way he plays, he's going to make a couple mistakes in the game. He's going to give up some big plays, but I also think he's going to get at least one big play as well. Because he's not going to be able to handle Edelman on his own. I'll tell you that.
And Dave, for the Patriots, do you think it'd be wise to put Gilmore on Robert Woods and then double Brandon Cooks, or put a safety over top to make sure Cooks doesn't beat him?
So I'd definitely go Gilmore on Woods. That would be the primary matchup because Cooks is a good receiver, but he's something of a one-trick pony. You know exactly what he is. He's a guy that goes down the field, and he does it really fast. Gilmore can defend any type of player, but I'd like him more against Woods, who's a guy who can more do anything. He's a more versatile receiver. You don't necessarily know what you're going to get. So I'd basically put Gilmore on an island with Woods. He's done well covering guys all on his own all year long. He's faced some really good receivers this year, and he's ranked as Pro Football Focus's best corner in football. So I'm going to like that matchup. With Cooks, you're probably going to throw J.C. Jackson over there, who had a phenomenal rookie season. I think his passer rating when targeted, I'm not sure if it's still true anymore because he struggled a bit against the Chiefs, but for a while there it was the lowest in the NFL. That's not to say he's the best cornerback in football. He's not. But the kid can play. He's got a real eye for the ball, and if they put him on Cooks, I'd really like that odd if you put Cooks there and Harmon or McCourty as the deep safety just shadowing to that side of the field. But something that interests me is what they did against Tyreek Hill in the AFC Championship game. They used Jonathan Jones, a combo of Jonathan Jones and Keon Crossan primarily. Those are their two fastest players, and Cooks is very much a speed guy. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Jonathan Jones sort of follow him. Jones normally plays exclusively the slot, but I could see if they get in three wide receiver sets, which the Rams love to do, put Jones on the field and just have him go after Cooks, put Gilmore on Woods and J.C. Jackson on whichever guy the third one is. So there's a lot of ways to defend them, but honestly I think the Patriots match up really well with what the Rams like to do when they throw the ball.
And on offense, do you think we're going to see a lot of James White catching balls out of the backfield in this game?
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be James White. I mean, I'm always going to pick Tom Brady for Super Bowl MVP because he's Tom Brady. But if I had to pick a runner-up, my runner-up would be James White. As Ryan alluded to, the Rams linebackers is probably the weak part of their defense, especially in terms of coverage. So I'd really expect the Patriots to go to White early and often. Earlier in the season, he was on pace to have literally the best receiving season a running back has ever had. He slowed down near the end of the year because he suffered an ankle injury against Green Bay, and New England didn't want to aggravate that because he well exceeded his season high in touches. But we've seen over this postseason that James White is, back. He's at full strength, and I fully expect him with a whole offseason to rest up, get ready, to use James White as basically as much as they humanly can. If they do go to leave on Gronk and that works, and if they do double Edelman all game and that works, I really don't see how the Rams have an answer to James White.
Yeah, I brought up a stat before we came on air that James White had as many catches as Tyreek Hill and as many touchdowns as Juju Schuster for Pittsburgh, which I thought was just amazing.
He's basically a receiver, yeah. And I think in the Chargers game, he tied or was one short of the
15 catches
high. Yeah, that's crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if he approaches that in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in the Atlanta Super Bowl a few years ago, I think he finished with, I want to say it was 13 receptions. It might have been 12, but he had 3 combined touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 through the air, and a 2-point conversion. And, it was just vintage White. He always plays his best in the playoffs. Last year he had a good game, too. So I'm fully expecting James White to go off on Sunday. And,
I'm going to jump back on the Pats defense. They played a lot of man this year, but you think they might play a lot of zone in this game to try to get
that one. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't have the stat right now, but I read that Goff's passer rating drops 20 or 30 points when he's facing zone coverage versus when he's facing man. So obviously he's a guy you're going to want to try to confuse. You don't want to just line up and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, because McVay's offenses are so good that he always calls the right play to beat a defense when Jared Goff knows what the defense is going to do. You're going to want to kind of scheme it up a little bit, make him think a little bit more, and with the cornerbacks we have, with the safeties we have, I fully expect us to be able to disguise what we're doing, confuse Goff a little bit, and maybe make some throws that he shouldn't.
And Ryan, Goff, how important is the running game to Goff's success in this Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it all starts with the run game. You know, if they are not going to be able to be successful in the run game, they've got no shot in the Super Bowl. I mean, Goff, I'm you know, he's good. He's a good quarterback, but he's not a guy who can do it all on his own. If he has to go toe-to-toe with Brady because their run game is not working, there's no chance for him there. You know, I mean, the run game's got to make it work, and I think it can work, especially with that new aspect with C.J. Anderson in there as the power back in a little change-up. You know, that's where it's all going to start, and I'm sure Belichick knows that and is going to be planning that as well to shut down that run game.
Yeah, because they averaged just over 139 yards a game during the regular season, and in this postseason, in the two games, they're averaging 175 yards a game. And C.J. Anderson, for his career, averages 5.8 yards a carry against the Patriots. So do you think they're going to come out and maybe try to run it down their throats?
Yeah,
like
I mean, I think,
Cowboys?
yeah, definitely. There no doubt. And I think, you know, I want to say Gurley's going to come back and have himself, you know, kind of a bounce-back game. But, I mean, I really think they're going to stick with C.J. Anderson and what he's doing and, you know, bring in those doses of Gurley. I expect the usage to be pretty similar to what they were doing against the Saints. You saw Anderson kind of, you know, get in there, and it felt like he had a lot more touches than Gurley. You know, he did. And then, you know, you'd get Gurley go in there, you know, and the defense was, you know, they were getting used to Anderson and his power running style, and then Gurley runs in there and, as a stretch runner and busts out a big run. So I think the game plan is going to be pretty similar because as predictable as it'll be, it's going to be really tough to stop.
Yeah, and C.J. Anderson in his 4 games with the Rams has 466 yards of rushing, which is pretty impressive. I think the only other players to do that were Marshall Faulk. I think it was Marshall Faulk was the only other player to do that going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane what C.J. Anderson's done. I mean, I know people are talking about him a lot, and it seems kind of getting burned out, but, I mean, it's crazy to have him in there. I mean, last season people were talking about, you know, Gurley for the MVP and of the league, and certainly this year he had a really good season as well. But then C.J. Anderson just comes in, and it's like, whoa, you know, now there's questions, you know, how much are we going to use Gurley? But Gurley seems fine with the role that he has. I mean, he just wants the team to win the Super Bowl, whatever he has to do. So I will not be surprised if Anderson has more touches, especially on the ground, than Gurley.
Yeah, in the playoffs, with Goff, when he uses the play action, he completes over 72% of his passes. When he doesn't use the play action, he's completing just about 53%. So, I mean, the running game's got to be pretty important for him, I would think, in this game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you saw Goff's stats, you know, kind of drop off towards the end of the season, you know, with less receiving options after Cup. You know, he was still solid. The team was putting up points, but they were really doing it more through the run game. So you can see a little bit, you know, Goff benefits in the beginning of the season just from having so many weapons with Cooks, Woods, and Cup, and then Cup went down, and it did hurt them a little, so kind of exposed Goff a little bit. So I expect the Patriots to try to take advantage of that as much as they can. So obviously the Rams are just going to try to run it as much as they can to offset that and not put Goff, who's still young, into too many situations where you might make a mistake.
Yeah, this season on 3rd and 6 or longer, he was second in the NFL with turnovers with 6. So they definitely want to keep him out of 3rd and long against the Patriots.
Yeah, exactly.
And sort of adding. No, go ahead. Oh, you, Ryan.
Oh
no, I'm good. Go ahead.
Whereas Brady in this postseason on 3rd down, on 3rd and 6 and longer is 9 of 12 for 109 yards and a touchdown. So
that's my goat.
Go on.
Yeah. So just adding to the effect of the running game. The thing that's really going to be what to watch for the New England Patriots is what they do when the Rams go heavy. So throughout the course of the season, the Rams mostly ran 11 personnel, which 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end. And they ran that on 89% of their snaps on the year. However, since Anderson went down, that 89% 11 rate drops to 69%. They're basically sending out an extra tight end 20% of the time, getting heavy with it, and when they do that, they have a 64% success rate, which is far and away the highest in the league, which basically means anytime they're in that formation, they're getting the yardage required to set them up for the next play in the drive. So they're maddeningly efficient with that. New England's roughly league average at defending 12 personnel, but they've never faced an offense as good as it as the Rams are. So that's really the matchup to watch for me. What happens when the Rams go heavy? If New England can't stop them, then they're in for a long night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this game, I think, time of possession and who wins the 3rd down is really going to determine the outcome. And the Patriots have done a great job of that so far this postseason. What do you two think the X factors are going to be for both teams winning?
Well, I already went with James White, so that's boring. I'm not going to do that again. Yeah. I'm going to, let's go Cordell Patterson. Let's get weird with it. So Cordell Patterson, now Greg Zuerlein, he has a foot injury, and can he kick the ball all the way out of the end zone right now? We don't know that. Patterson's one of the most dangerous return men in the league, and if you give him a chance to, return 5-6 kicks a game, chances are he's going to break one of those for a pretty bad gain, and field position in a game like this is going to be huge. And Josh McDaniels has done a fantastic job incorporating Patterson as sort of the gadget guy into this offense. He's not the most natural route runner. Everyone knows that about Patterson. But he is capable of getting open on a few routes, and when he's schemed open and he gets the ball and just with 5-10 yards in front of him, he could score every single time he touches the ball. So really, I could see Patterson being a good play for it to have a sneaky good game, with a few trick plays in optimal situations.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still sad.
And what about you for the Rams, Ryan? Do you see your X
Rams? Yeah, well, first I'll say I'm still pretty sad my Raiders let go of Patterson. He's a good return guy. He had a couple touchdowns for us when we had him on some of those gadget plays. But anyway, for the X Factor, I'm actually going to move away from the players. And, I just have to really think Sean McVay himself as a coach, and he's going to be the X Factor. To see what he did last week in that hostile environment with the Saints in New Orleans, and the start the team got off to, it's all him that's holding this team together. He kept him in the game. Something about that persona and that leadership. You look at Gurley after the game too, and there's no one on this team kind of thinks they're too good, or they all play their roles. And I think it's not really being talked about enough. Just how good McVay is. In a way, it is. They're talking about it a lot, but at least for the Super Bowl, it's kind of Brady and Belichick, and then the Rams offense and all of this. But what McVay's done here, I mean, I think he's going to be able to game plan right and match up with Belichick better than probably almost any other coach has done in a while in the Super Bowl against them.
Yeah, I was extremely impressed with the game against the Cowboys when they just totally ran the ball down their throats. The Cowboys were extremely good against the run, and they made them look, pathetic. I mean, they had both C.J. Anderson and Gurley both over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, it's crazy what. Yeah, I mean, that's too. I mean, another reason showing. I mean, to bring in C.J. Anderson so late in the season and just kind of evolve their offense around him in a week's time is like that's all coaching, man.
Yeah. And the Rams only have 4 players with Super Bowl experience. Do you think the Super Bowl is going to be too big of an atmosphere for the Rams, or do you think they're going to go out there and try to get it?
Yeah, again, it looked like it at first. I think last week was kind of a big thing for them. Like I said, being in New Orleans and that atmosphere, and at first, man, I mean, the first 10 minutes of that game, that's my thoughts were exactly this is too big for these guys. They don't have the experience. They're panicking, and certainly they were. I mean, it was pretty obvious that the crowd noise was giving them a lot of trouble, but you saw them settle down throughout the game, and you saw them get, kind of chill out, and just having those few players that have been there is going to do it for them and really help. And again, McVay's leadership, he looked calm and collected the entire time. So I think that's who the team's going to look to. Usually you're going to look to your quarterback, like in the Patriots with Brady. They're not going to look to Goff. They're going to look to McVay, and he's going to keep that ship on the right path.
Yeah, and I'm just reading a stat here about James White. He has scored 8 touchdowns over his last 4 postseasons, which is most in the NFL. And his 4 career Super Bowl touchdowns are tied for 3rd most all time behind Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith. It's pretty impressive.
That's a pretty good company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All he does is score touchdowns in the postseason.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is such a phenomenal player, and people know who he is because of this season and because of what he did in Atlanta. But if he played in an offense where they didn't rotate the backs in and out as much, he'd be a household name because he's a superstar talent. And the reason he goes off, it's sort of like what they did with Danny Amendola all those years, is they sort of conserve him in the regular season, keep him healthy for the postseason, then just unleash him. And honestly, I think White's a much better player than Amendola is. So, I mean, I really can't emphasize enough how big I think James White is going to be on this game.
Yeah. And another cool little stat is that both these teams are coming off overtime wins in the conference championship games. Prior to that, only 6 other teams have done it, and they went 3-3 in the Super Bowl. And the Patriots are one of those, are 2-1. So they're 3 of those 6 teams that won a conference game in overtime, and then went 2-1 in the Super Bowl.
All right.
But what kind of any predictions you got for the game, score-wise?
31-21 Patriots.
Ooh, you got a nice win. I mean, I'm in again. I mean, the Patriots have never won by more than 6 points, right? I expect it to be another close game. I think whoever has the ball last is probably going to be the ones who end up winning this. I mean, I'm not going to pick a winner, but I'm going to say 31-28. I think the score is going to be 31-28, and it's going to be won on a last-second field goal. Either Zerline or Gostkowski are going to kick it in to end it, and that's how it's going to end.
Well, historically, that's the Patriots then, because we won 2 of them on last-second field goals, and Vinatieri won, of course, the Snow Bowl all those years ago on a last-second field goal.
Well, my score is going to blow you 2 away. I'm going with the Patriots, 35-17.
Wow.
Oh, a blowout.
That is confident.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have a gut feeling that they're just gonna pull away.
Wow. I just can't see it being a blowout with all the weapons that the Rams have, and just this matchup. I mean, I can't see them getting blown out myself. It's just, but hey, it could happen. I mean, at the same time, for some reason, you've got Tom Brady with that chip on his shoulder just keeps growing every year. It's like he's done it all, and I just feel like he's more motivated than ever to prove his three doubters in the entire world wrong. So he's probably going to be trying to blow him out. I'll say that.
Yeah. And this year was the year people made the mistake of saying Tom Brady's not that good anymore in December, or this Patriots team feels different in December. Because, like, I'll agree that the people that are like the Patriots are underdogs, nobody ever believed in this team for 1 second. Like, they're overblowing it, but this team, all season long, we've just heard about there's something different about this Patriots team. It's not the same one as, the 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 teams, and that, Tom Brady's finally showing signs of age. So there definitely is, reason for Brady to have a chip on his shoulder and the Patriots to have a chip on their shoulders. So I do think, you're adding fuel to the fire in sort of a sense. And, I've said it for each of the last 4 Super Bowls, but Brady and Belichick have to be playing this like this is their last chance they're going to get, because this can't go on much longer. They're going to give everything they got, and I truly believe win, lose, or draw, this is Rob Gronkowski's last game in the NFL. So I think he's going to just put it all on the line, knowing that, he doesn't need to rest up for tomorrow because he has the rest of his life to get back. He wants to go out a champion, and, when he's at his best, he's the best tight end in football history, but you saw a bit of that in the Chiefs game. You saw some of that vintage Gronk stuff, especially in the fourth quarter and overtime. But I'm expecting him to lay it all on the line. He's had 2 weeks to rest up from the Chiefs game, and the Patriots had the bye week, so he had all that rest. He's only played 2 games in the last month, so I think you're going to get basically 26. He was hurt in 2016. I think you're going to get 2015, 2014 Gronkowski out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to agree with that. I mean, if I had to choose an X factor on the Patriots side, I'd probably go with him too. I mean, I think he's probably I think he has the best shot of leading the team in receiving yards. I think he goes over 100 and possibly gets at least 1 touchdown, because he's going to give it his all.
He's also hugely important in the run game and run blocking.
People talk about how bad he's been as a receiver this season, but I mean, I'm watching him and he's as good as ever at blocking. I mean, he hasn't gotten any worse at that, at the very least.
Yeah, he's still as strong as an ox. It's just like he had the ankle injury, he suffered it in week 2, and he's had the back injury, which has bothered him basically his whole career, but it acted up again midway through the season. So he doesn't run as fast as he used to. He doesn't cut as well as he used to. But if you just tell him, like, hey, block that guy in front of him, beat the crap out of him, he can still do that because he's still a monster. He's bigger than some tackles in the league. I mean, if you put on if you put on 20 pounds, he probably could spend the next 5 years as an offensive tackle if he really wanted to.
That's so true. Oh, man.
Yeah, because I believe that the Patriots, they're going to play a lot of zone because the Rams like to do a lot of, like, play action and the jet sweep to get defenders looking in the backfield. And with the Patriots playing zone, they can, simplify their defensive assignments. And I think it'll help them control the run game and force Jared Goff to beat them. And I expect them to throw in some blitzes there. And I'm just looking. That's what I expect. I expect the Patriots to force Jared Goff to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
But will they be able to?
I concur with that.
Yeah, but I mean, they've been a running team all year. People have tried to stop that run game all year and been unsuccessful, and now they've just added another dimension. I mean, if they do stop that run game, it's over. But I just don't think they will. But hey, that's me.
My worry is that the Patriots can only beat good quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, like exclusively good quarterbacks, and Jake Delhomme. Because, like, our three losses, Eli Manning twice and Nick Foles, the guys we beat, MVP Kurt Warner, Donovan McNabb, a really good player, Russell Wilson, and MVP Matt Ryan. Jake Delhomme snuck in there somehow.
Yeah, I was like, Jake Delhomme, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a combo breaker right there. But he was good in 2003.
Yeah, solid. That was probably one of his better seasons.
Yeah, but it definitely breaks up the curve of, like, the Patriots can only beat top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, no, we beat Jake Delhomme.
Yeah.
Jared Goff averaged 8.4 yards per pass during the regular season, and in the postseason he's averaging 7.1. And when he averages 7 or more yards per pass, they're 21-3. But when he throws under 7 yards, he's 5-12. So.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They're a vertical offense. You know, that's where they excel. You know, and they've got stuff everywhere. You know, you've got Cooks deep. You know, Woods is, you know, he can go deep too. He's a little over the middle. You know, Gerald Everett, he's a tight end. You know, he's in the middle of the field too. He doesn't, you know, get a lot of stats, but they still got to account for him. And then, of course, they got those short passes, you know, where they have the, you know, the screens, and all that, and then passes to Gurley. So it's really tough to defend against that pass game. So, you know, Goff, he really doesn't have to do much.
Yeah, McVay's created a fantastic scheme, and basically all Goff has to do is go out there and say, okay, the play wants me to throw the ball here, I'll throw it here, and, you know, the rest is easy.
And
right. The best hope is confusing him and sort of just hoping for operator error, because the play call is always going to be right. Is Goff going to execute it accurately is the question.
Yeah.
And Robert Woods has had a career year this year. He led the team in receiving yards with over 1,200, and in 3 of his postseason games, he's had at least 6 catches. So he's definitely someone you gotta factor into, which is why I think you'll see Gilmore on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna have to win because Cooks isn't gonna, you know, be the one to. He's not gonna beat the Patriots. You know, he like David said, he is that kind of that one trick pony. You know, you shut down Cooks and it's gonna be way too predictable. You know, you can't just go deep every play. So, as Woods, they've gotta get him involved.
Well, it should be an interesting game. You know, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I can care less who really wins, but I have a feeling that the Patriots are going to win this one, and Tom Brady is going to get his sixth ring.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
All right,
on,
guys.
because the law of averages says that when Brady and Belichick retire, that the Patriots are going to be 1-15 for about 15 years straight. So I'm savoring every second I got left of this.
Yeah, you better be ready for a Raider-like next 10 years after he goes out.
I'm not looking forward to when the 2016 Raiders are the high point of my decade.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. It's so bad. So bad. Rebuilding.
If the Patriots win, Belichick will become the oldest head coach to win a Super Bowl, passing Tom Coughlin, and Brady will break his own record.
Really? Wow, Tom Coughlin's looked so ancient for a while. I thought he'd still be older than Belichick back when he won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was.
I don't remember that one happening, oddly enough. Either one.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, you guys enjoy your weekend and definitely enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. Man, I appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, no problem, man. Anytime.
All right.
Go Pats.
All right, let's go.
The proceeding was a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production. Thank you for listening.